And now today for a nice light-hearted subject. Racism. Recently, this Twitter video was seen of the economic freedom fighters, aka the Black Party, chanting a song that has been labelled as hate speech in South Africa. The song, when translated, means "kill the Boer, kill the farmer", Boer being a slur for Caucasian people. And as you may imagine, this has brought a lot of attention online, prompting many people to bring the allegations that South Africa's racism is still very prevalent, just not against black Africans. Anyone who understands even a Wikipedia level of history knows what apartheid is and was. For those that don't, here is a quick summary and a quick definition during its governance. Apartheid was a South African policy or system of segregation or discrimination on grounds of race. Now, this system of government, in terms of a white minority ruling class, was in power for over 40 years. Its practices and policies have been the subject of much condemnation by the press, governments and citizens of many countries over those 40 years, as well as being featured in many Hollywood films.
I don't think you really want to go to South Africa.
Why not?
Because you're black.
You are.
Nelson Mandela became the poster boy of the cause when he was arrested, like many black South Africans were at that time, for conspiring to overthrow the state. He served 27 years of a life sentence and was released due to the international and national pressure that led to affecting the trade, the basic running of the country, and the threat of a civil war in South Africa. His release marked the turning point in South African society and was later elected president, where the world felt satisfied that South Africa would become a beacon of what tolerance means. That didn't last. The moment Mandela left office, the course was clear. For many of those who had felt the hurt of the white minority leadership now wanted that same white minority to feel as they felt. Some of you may feel that this sort of attitude is indeed justice. Well, I'm sorry, that's not how equality works. Equality is not about power over another. It's about a just, free society for all. And any discriminatory actions against the Caucasian population in South Africa are most certainly not what Mandela would have wanted, or anyone who believed in actual equality over there. Helen Suzman was a notable anti-apartheid Caucasian politician who now feels the sting of what certain cynical reports call reverse racism, otherwise known as racism, as to me reverse racism implies that Caucasians have never felt racism or discrimination or any of those things. I mean, to be honest, people who say reverse racism should really check out Sargon's video on how the British ended slavery. Bear in mind, this is the woman that during a debate in 1964, she stood to oppose an amendment to the pass laws which limited where blacks could go. The bill, she said, ignores all the fundamental concepts of human dignity. It strips the African of every basic pretension that he has to being a human being, to being a free human being in the country of his birth, and it reduces him to the level of a chattel, to the level of a servant. I hope those words do strike a chord with you, because these days, her long-standing efforts to create a country based on equal rights have instead led to her stating that the reverse has happened. She states she had hoped it would be replaced by a government that had some understanding of democracy, which this government doesn't have. This is in reference to the government in 2005. If a prominent anti-apartheid politician is now saying that the black majority government is guilty of racism, people really should pay attention. Instead, concerns are ignored, and we have gotten ourselves a different type of racism. Not just towards anyone who is obviously Caucasian, but anyone who is not black enough. It has been reported that people of a mixed race background, not necessarily having a mix of white background, but any mixed race at all, is looked down upon as second-class citizens in South Africa today. Take this case from the times of India, where a young girl of South African origin who has one parent who is Indian talks of how her family was not black enough for jobs in South Africa. Her father of Indian origin, who was born in South Africa, was discriminated against in a government job for years. And when decided to raise his voice, he was attacked. He finally decided to call it quits, foreseeing a bleak future for his kids, who were not black enough to survive in the South African job market. An apparent explanation for this behavior can be seen in an American context. Indians were the blacks of the 1990s in America, but Indians are the new whites of Silicon Valley, with the likes of Satya Nadella and Sundar Pichai rising to the top as CEOs in companies such as Microsoft and Google. Look, can we just get something straight here? It is horrendous. However you look at this, it doesn't matter what race or ethnicity or people we are talking about. The supremacy of one group over another should never be tolerated, ever. But where is the media outrage in the Western world over this issue? Where are the campaigns, the activists, those people who like to be morally superior to you? Oh, yeah, I remember now. They're busy supporting the mutilation of children and flying little Ukrainian flags, feeling so good about themselves. Oh, gotcha, you got more important things to do. This brings me to the subject this video opened with, the EFF chanting "Kill the White Farmer." This is a phenomenon that has been allegedly happening for years in South Africa, though those in authority do deny it. What has happened, however, is that it has led to segregation, an example of which is the town called Eureka,
Okay, I see what you did there.
where the white Afrikaners have set up a town where blacks are not allowed in it. They claim there is no racist intention behind setting this town up on their part, though you can understand an outsider be looking at that statement with skepticism. What they state the town is about the following.
The shoe is now on the other foot, and now we are fighting against the racists. How can we be racist when it is us who are being forced out of the country? They sing against us, kill the farmer, so everything counts against the white race. So who are the racists?
So wie is nou die rasis in hierdie verhaal?
Look, don't think I'm sitting here pretending that these people are not themselves perhaps descended from other people who did some or said some pretty nasty stuff. But how do you move on from the past if you just recycle the same discrimination again and again, whether it's black on white or white on black? I believe Morgan Freeman said it best.
How are we going to get rid of racism until...
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man.
Look, I am very glad that white apartheid has fallen, but the idea of it being simply replaced by a different type of apartheid that wears a different face, that just spits in the face of every true person who believed in a free South Africa, including Mandela himself, might I add. What has become clear is that when Mandela became president, we thought this would be the beginning of a new era. It wasn't. What his presidency really was a buffer zone. A buffer zone between the old apartheid and the new apartheid. Mandela was the type of leader we wanted for South Africa for the future going forward. More people like him. But as soon as someone who had not, so should we say, struggled or fought in the same way as him, who came to be as educated as he was, got a little bit of power after he left office, the dream ended. And the new apartheid, a black apartheid, began. I know many of you watching this will have issue just by the fact I've raised this subject. I'm not naive, but I'm not afraid to do it. I'm not afraid not only to speak my mind, but tell the truth that's backed by credible source material and eyewitness accounts. Remember what the definition of apartheid is: a policy or system of segregation or discrimination on grounds of race. This is not specific to one race being the oppressor and one race being the victim. They can flop and change like the wind, okay? It's not always white bad, black good. It could be many different things. Look, you can deny this problem exists all you want. I really don't care. I know it does. I've shown you it does. The sources are in the description to show you that it does. And more importantly, this problem is not limited to South Africa. It's all over the Western world. It's in America and the UK. Spreading throughout Europe is an anti-Caucasian movement. One, in fact, that is also perpetrated by an all different manner of people, all different types of people, including people who share said skin complexion. We have a term for that. It's called self-hatred. If you want everyone to be equal, great. You need to stand up against this too. It's not just the past stuff you need to stand up against and keep teaching to our children. This today matters. Now, if you don't want to be equal, okay, but admit that. Tell that truth so that we all know where we stand. The point of my videos is to give you a taste of what is going on in the world. If I were to go into the depth that I actually want, these videos will be about 2 hours long and I'll probably be uploading once a month, so it's not really doable. Hence why I always include the sources inside the videos so you can do your research, you can see for yourself, and maybe you can get outside of your bubble, for those of you that are in one, and maybe look at other people's point of view. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please take the time if you can to like, comment and subscribe. It does mean a lot to us YouTubers. As I said, all the sources are in the description box below, but along with that are my Rumble links for the Opinionated channel and my YouTube and Rumble links for the Uber Geek channel, which is the pop culture stuff. And until next time, guys, take care.